Hello, everybody. My name is Gideon Butler Smith, and I am a Bakerpedia influencer. And we have a Thought Leadership Thursday episode for you right now, live with Jason Gray. Jason, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us where you're at.
Hey, Gideon. Jason Gray. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing here at IREKS North America. We currently operate about a 20,000 square foot facility just outside of Toronto in Ontario, Canada.
That's awesome, and we are so happy to have you here. Jason, the last couple years have taught us all several lessons. What about your company, IREKS? Some of your values are innovation and quality. And so, what have these past 2 years taught you guys of how to approach the baking industry with those two in mind?
Yeah, I mean, innovation and quality are, like you said, the cornerstones of how we function here at IREKS North America. And so we continue to try and find ways to bring those to the marketplace through either staying on trend with what's common today, clean label, keto, gluten free, all the various non-GMO, what I like to call the badges, that everyone likes to enjoy in the food industry. So we are no different than the rest of our players in that regard, and we continue to work closely with our various customers to bring some of those trends to life here for them. So we've been very fortunate. We just launched a keto bread and a keto pizza. For the past 10 years within IREKS, we have actually had a strong gluten-free portfolio. It's probably one of our leading product segments really for the North American market. So it's been a driving force for us to gain some entry level here in North America. So IREKS North America is still a kind of a new player on the scene as far as North America goes. We've only been around since about 2017. And so we're still trying to build our brand here in the North American landscape. And so the gluten free has been very, very helpful for us to do that.
Have you seen a specific market in North America, like geographically, where gluten-free tends to spike? Or is it kind of pretty even across the whole North American landscape?
No, I think that's very accurate in the sense that I think it's in specific marketplaces. You'd certainly see where there's like higher population density, where you've got maybe a multitude of different demographics and income levels. I think sort of in your more traditional markets, i.e. the Midwest and whatnot, where it's sort of traditional rye bread that consumers, they haven't necessarily gravitated towards that whole, trend scenario. But I certainly tell you in the major cities where trends are much more common and much more part of the theme of the day, you see the demand for the gluten frees and the keto breads, most certainly.
Yeah, being from the Midwest, I still have a lot of contacts. I'm in Arkansas, but being from Kansas, I still have a lot of contacts. So I'm still hearing of people getting a little advanced in age and going to the doctor and say, hey, you might want to try a few gluten-free products in your diet, not completely gluten-free, but I'm already seeing just the advancement of gluten-free going from a just a trend to almost a nutritional staple, just to help balance out people's diets. And
Mm-hmm.
so, what are some of the products that IREX is proud of in 2022?
In 2022, as I say, we just officially launched a 1 gram net carb keto bread and pizza to the marketplace. So we're seeing a bit of the balance in the market between the gluten free and the keto, as a matter of fact, where there's people maybe who don't necessarily are onto the gluten free diet for celiac or GI type issues. I've seen, oh, I can gain some of the similar benefits of moving over to the keto diet, where it's low carbs, it's good for your weight, and maybe a little bit less, I hate to say, additive in the keto products, right? So the gluten free, as people know in baking industry, is a very difficult product matrix, and you need to add a lot of other additives to it in order for it to perform like it does in a normal bread functionality. So I would say that's probably been the biggest awareness when I'm talking to gluten-free people, where they're like, "Oh, I can't believe there's so much junk," as they say, in the products, right? And it's true that you do have to add certain degrees of additives to the products in order to get them to perform the way they want to. So um, I think there's just a learning curve for the consumer. I think we all know too that the consumer is, far more educated than they've ever been, right? Far more aware, and there's more stuff that's on TikTok and Instagram and everything. And it's such a way to learn. I mean, I don't necessarily know if it's always the best way to learn, because you never know if it's the right information, but you certainly hear some interesting things from customers and consumers when you're talking to them about the various products.
Yeah, now you're speaking my language. And so, yeah, I mean, certainly, all of us millennials think we're chefs and food scientists, and just because we see something on social media, which nothing can take away the experience of being in the kitchen and running restaurants, and you have more experience than I can on talking about that. But IREKS is also in confectionaries as well as bakeries, and so what excites you about that market, and where do you see the trends heading in confectionaries?
As a sales guy, the one thing that excites me about the confectionery market is volume. It's a really nice volume industry. Cakes. Even with people being health conscious today's day and age, I think there's still a propensity to enjoy your indulgences. Right? People still like to treat themselves to something, and cakes and donuts and things like that are still very consumable and still in high demand. So I think for us, we produce probably about 80% of the products out of our facility here in Ontario are cake based. So because of our partnership with Germany, they do a lot of the bread bases and mixes for us, and we do a lot of the cake things here. And a lot of that's based on cost as well. Obviously to produce a cake mix versus a bread mix is a very variable in cost. So we're trying to be cost conscious and make sure the consumer gets the best value as well. But I think we spent a lot of time in the last year or so really focusing in on non-GMO, on clean label, and on vegan really. So
Mm.
we've launched in the last 12 months vegan chocolate and a vegan white cake. So and those are seemingly taking some notice in the marketplace and starting to grow as customers again are looking to find ways to consume things that they enjoy, but maybe taking out some of the things that aren't necessarily part of their daily diet. And as the vegan diet, the vegetarian diet continues to be another upswing trend, it's important for us to be well positioned to service those particular customers.
Yes, certainly. Um, Being in a bread, loaf, and bun facility, I don't always keep up on vegan, but I'm sure that that's rising at a quick rate, very competitive with gluten free. And so, what else? Um, Speaking of your past experience that we just shared off camera, being a chef and being hands on, what are you personally excited about, and what are you kind of dreaming for the future, maybe the next 5 to 10 years in the baking industry?
It's it's not exciting, but it's great to see that things like sourdough have come back on vogue again as well, right? Sort of what's old is new again, and for a guy who's been around the business for a long time, it's good to see that things do kind of go full cycle. I sort of always liken it to like clothing styles, right? Clothing styles go out, but 20 years later, platform shoes and bell bottoms are back in, kind of a thing. So I think sourdough is the new bell bottom, or today's bell bottom in the bakery industry, right? So I think that's great. I have a lot of time for sourdough. It sort of showcases the artisan baker, the real down home kind of baker, and I really like that. And we've developed a number of different sourdoughs in our portfolio that can help bakers that are trying to get to achieve some of those goals that don't maybe have the necessary equipment to do their own sourdough, or the time, or the people, especially at the industrial level. So we speak to all markets, right from the artisan baker right up to the industrial baker. So they also need to have the particular products that can be made available to help them streamline their production processes as well. So.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Of who do you market towards, all the way from retail to commercial? And so
Yeah.
on that sourdough product, are you doing just different flavor profiles? Are you concentrating down sourdough levains, or can maybe speak to what that actual product is and the application of it?
Yeah, it's wide ranging, so it's anywhere from sort of buckwheat, rye, wheat, so some various variations based on the flour um, varieties, as well as just some different techniques, right? Some different techniques to get some different milder aromatics, maybe something that's a bit more robust. So we've just started a joint venture with a company out of Italy that we should be launching here sometime in the next few months. So I can't say too much about it today, but we're excited about something that'll be coming into the marketplace here probably sometime in 2022. So I think that's why I sort of segue to that sourdough as well. So I know there's something that we've got coming that'll be fun for the industry to see, and it'll bring some new intrigue to, again, that what's old is new baking type mentality that we're always excited about. I mean, being a 170-year-old company, we still have a lot of roots going back to original, flour, water, yeast,
Yep.
and so I think that we're passionate about sort of keeping that in tow, but also understanding that the world is shifting, and you know what, the availability of bakers, Gideon, as you probably are aware, is challenging. It's not exactly a bulging profession in North America, especially, right? So I know when I talk to a lot of our customers, they say, hey, we struggle to find people that are bakers. We try and find production workers and then try and make it as simple for them as we possibly can. So this is where
Yep.
IREKS, I think, tries to come to the table with some nice, simple solutions, one-stop shops for customers, and go, hey, you can use this product in your mix. All you do is add flour, and off you go, right? So again, it's about sort of speaking to all parts of the industry, and knowing full well that there's going to be Gideon's Bakery around the corner that's going to want something that he can do from scratch, and then there's going to be the bimbos of the world that you need to be able to provide solutions to as well.
Yes. For the record, for our viewers, I've thought about having my own bakery, and that just screams headache.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah.
um,
Well, if you like
but
getting up at 2 a.m., maybe it's not so bad, but
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Um, So here at Bakerpedia, we are incredibly passionate about what you're kind of saying, like the lack of bakers, and so there's also a lack of um, there's a education and training gap in the
mm,
industry, and so we've been able to put out some lessons and things like this, and we're continuing to build that portfolio here at Bakerpedia, and so yeah, I mean you're already saying that your product is a one-stop shop, but is there any other services, if you will, that IREX provides to kind of fill that gap in the baking industry?
yeah. I think you set up a perfect segue there. We offer a program, we call it eCampus. And so it's an online training program that we offer out to our customers and whatnot. And we started that up during the pandemic, as a matter of fact, because one of the, I guess, key areas that we feel we bring the most value to the marketplace is through our technical advice. So we do try to hire master bakers in roles so that these people can be on site with our customers, helping them come up with these solutions. But with the COVID being in place and not being able to be in front of customers, we decided to kind of take it down an online route, much like we are today. So we started doing some what we called our eCampus program, and it was a way for customers to engage with our technical team, learn some things about what we do, what our strengths are, and then set up that, you know, ability to connect with our local technical advisors that can take that from the next step to helping the customer get to the finished product phase. So we've been pretty excited about the response we've had from doing some of these online programs. I know that the world is probably exhausted by them now, and nobody wants to get on any more virtual meetings. But so I am excited. I feel like we're on the verge of getting back to normal here. We were talking about it before we came online here. The ASB is coming up in Chicago, so we'll be happy to attend that in person for the first time in 2 years. And so we're excited to get back out in front of customers again as well. So it's nice to have these mediums, but there's nothing that beats the face-to-face interaction.
Yeah, I agree with that. And even being a young buck who would be prone to being, yes, e-campus, all of the technology, I'm like, there's still nothing as that tangible face-to-face interaction. Stay healthy, but
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
it'll it's always so valuable. um well, Jason, what else, what's been on your mind leadership wise for your team, and IREX in general, that maybe you can impart to us, maybe a little bit of wisdom, until before we part ways?
Yeah, what we've had to really remind ourselves here is how grateful we are to be in such a great industry, and to be able to continue to work through the pandemic. I know lots of people whose business have been compromised and they've been put out of work for the time. So I've tried to be very much on that line with our sales team to say, hey, guys, let's be grateful of all the things we have. Let's find ways to stay in touch with customers, whether we're producing samples and whatnot, and we're just dropping them off at the front door in a nice fancy box for them, and they come out and get them on, they test them, and we get on a virtual call with them and get their feedback via that route. We've tried those various, options to stay in touch with customers. Of course, again, that's where modern technology has been so beneficial because, of course, we have, text messaging and emailing, and then, I've been in sales for over 25 years now. And if you had told me 15 years ago that I could text my customers, I would have said there's no chance that would ever be. But nowadays, you text your customers, so it's great because it has opened up opportunities. LinkedIn has been of great value to us. We try to spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, staying connected to customers, staying connected to trends, and connecting all with Bakerpedia. I'm on Bakerpedia almost every day because of LinkedIn. Following what Lynn is up to and what the team is up to. So again, we can say that all these social mediums can be a bit of a pain because they can be a little bit too much at times, but they also bring a lot of value, right? So it's just about balance, and I would say that's, for me, has been a key driver as a sales manager and a leader with the organization is just, hey guys, find your balance, make sure that you are always bringing value to customers however they see that for them, right? So it's asked us and begged of us to ask more questions of our customers. How do we service you now in these times, right? With people working at home, and labs being closed, what can we do in here, or what can we do? We have a very large technical center in Germany where we have over 100, master bakers essentially working in a very large facility. So we've been able to put together some products for customers and allow them, to be shipped to them directly where they could test on property and then give us their feedback accordingly. So again, it's, like you said, it's innovation. So innovation may not necessarily always lie in a product. It's in innovation in how you approach your customers and how you approach
Yes.
your day-to-day work, and just, adjusting on the fly. And I've been very fortunate to say my team's done an amazing job of keeping us going, and we're growing still, and we've got a lot more growing to do too. And so, we hope that, we're turning the corner here to better times to start getting back to seeing people in person again as well.
Yes. Let me plug my computer in before it dies before we say goodbye. Um, Jason, thank you so much. And yeah, like you said, both of us are on LinkedIn. That's how we originally got connected.
Yeah,
And so, everyone, feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn. I believe IREKS website and your email is tagged in the description above or below, however that works.
excellent.
And then Bakerpedia.com is your home for any technical
Yeah,
baking needs and questions. So, Jason, thank you so much, and have a great rest of your week and year.
yeah. Thank you. Stay safe, everybody, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the next function.